Hello, my name's John, this is my 300th video, and you're watching War Games, Models and Other Hobbies. Hello and welcome back. Something different today, it's my 300th video and I thought I'd celebrate by going back in time and having a look at some of the original miniatures that got me into this hobby in the 1980s. So without further ado, let's open up this box and have a look what's inside. So the first things first, this blister pack here, this is going to be for another video. So I'm going to put this to one side for now. And then we can take a look at what we've got in here. Now, what you'll see is there's quite a few white miniatures in here. A while ago, I primed a lot of partly painted and unpainted miniatures just to keep them from kind of getting a little bit too rough around the edges. But we're going to have a look at all of these models in turn. Don't know how long this video is going to take, but in no particular order, I'm just going to run through a lot of these models. So let me just move the box to one side. And here we have my Chinese dragon. It is a Tom Mear sculpt from 1984, and I can actually remember getting this one. My brother and sister used to have violin lessons in a town nearby, and there was a little model shop stroke hardware shop that my dad would take me to, and a lot of the miniatures in here that I got myself with my pocket money were from there. Other miniatures I inherited from my brother, but this was one of those that I remember buying at that little model shop, hardware shop, way back in the 80s. Now, if you'd like me to make a video on painting some of these classic models, please drop a comment, because I'd love to make some content about these things for anyone who's interested. So let's go on to another model. So here we have a Warhammer Tree Man. Originally, I think this one was not on a slotter base, it was just on the little old lead or white metal bases that they used to come on. But this was one of my inherited models, which I really like the style of this one. It brings back a lot of memories, that one. Let's just bring the box a little bit closer so we can start taking a few things out. So, let's take these three out. Now these three adventuring wizards are actually 3 levels of the same wizard from D&D. Again, I got these back in the late 80s from that little model shop. And here are 2 old Citadel miniatures. I haven't had the time to actually look back and see what all of these are, so if you recognise any of these, please put it in the comments. I'd really like to get a bit more information on some of these. But yeah, I primed these ones a while ago so I could get round to repainting them. I need to resculpt the sword on that one as well. So what I will do, I'm going to dig out all of the primed miniatures so we can then get to the older painted ones. So here is a selection of orcs. I'm not sure the manufacturer of these ones, but we have a standard bearer, a drummer, and then a knife wielding orc there. This has lost one of the knives. It might be in the box. We'll have a look. Probably the newest miniatures in here are these 2 little Warhammer Norse models. I got these when I was in middle school, so I think that would have been in the early 90s that I picked these ones up. Here we have an unknown warrior character. If you know what it is, please put it in the comments. Let's carry on having a little bit of a rummage. So here we have from, I think these are Grenadier models, I can't be sure, but like I said, if you know more details about any of these, drop a comment. 2 skeleton warriors, one with a bow and the other with a shield and an axe. I did have a third one which I think had a hammer instead of an axe, but I think that's long since disappeared. And here we have, these are Grenadier models as well, 4 different warriors. So there is a guy with an axe. Here we have one with a crossbow. We then have a spearman, and then a swordsman just there. So nearly at the end of the pre-sprayed minis that I did a while ago. We'll start having a look at the other ones in a second. So these are, what were these ones? These are, it says, I think it says Norca or something on the Slaughter base tab. Again, these were I bought when I was a kid in going to the little model shop. They had, see what that, so drop that, see what the date is. This is 1985, these ones. If you know what they are, please. Oh, they don't like to be held, whatever they are. If you know more details on these, please drop a comment. There we have these 3 little characters. So here we have a selection of dwarves. So this one again I think is one of the Grenadier ones, this little crossbowman there. We then have some Games Workshop, some Citadel dwarfs. This one has lost the top of his axe and the base is really quite thin. We then have this dwarf farmer with a scythe, and then the last painted, the last primed mini in here is this little halfling who's lost his sword sometime in the past. So those are the primed ones. Let's have a little look at some non-Games Workshop minis that are in here. I've got a few as I rummage around. So here I have, I can't remember who produced these, so if you know, please drop a comment because I'd really like to know a bit more about these. I remember getting them again at that little hardware shop, that little model shop, and there are some of the hobbits from Lord of the Rings. I'm not sure which is which, but then I also have Gandalf as well. These were partly painted by me a long time ago, and then the paint has been stripped off by myself again at some point, not sure when I did that. But those are some very early Lord of the Rings models. Let's see if there's a date on them. Can't see any date on the bottom of them clear enough. But if you know anything about these, please drop a comment. Be really interested to hear about them. Okay, so let's have a little look through. So here is another. This is one of my inherited models. So this is a little halfling. I really loved this little model when I was a kid. Used to have a little sword which has long since snapped off, but the paint job on there, I didn't do it myself, but it's really inspirational. There's a kind of a little shield with an apple with a warning sign crossed through it. It's starting to wear away a little bit, this guy, but really like this little character. I'll put it with that tree man. So we got there. I think this is a Citadel Lord of the Rings character. I think it might be Samwise Gamgee, that one. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But that's another one of these odd minis that I've got in this box. So this is, I think it's one of the Ralpatha ones from 1982, a two-headed giant with a ball and chain. So I've very early memories of this one. This is what remains of the little Citadel young dragon. Originally it had a little set of wings and the tail went on a little bit further. But there we have that little model there. And looks like in here the remains of another one of my old models. I think it came with, I think, two other characters. So it's an Oriental rocket launcher. So there is one of the loaders holding a rocket. There is one of the rockets, and that is the launcher just there. And then there's a spare little rocket there. That was held by one of the other characters, but I think I've long since lost those other two characters that came with it. What we've got here. So this looks like a witch. I think it's an early Citadel one, not 100% sure though. So way back when in school, I used to swap a load of these as well, so some of these I can't even remember where I got them from. So here we have, doesn't have any details on the bottom, but is a knight. If you know which one this is, which manufacturer this is from or anything about it, please drop a comment. I'd be interested to find out. Again, I can't remember where I got this from, this one. And then, oh, here we have the bottom half of the unusual Warhammer toilet. So there was another half of this that went in that little hole on the back, which was the cistern at the back. A very strange model. I don't know much about it, but if you do, like I said, drop a comment. We have the bowl with a strange character coming out of it, what looks like a goblin being held with one claw and the other claw just there. I mean, it could be a mimic or something like that, I'm not sure. But yeah, I've only got half of that model. I don't have the back of it. Then I've got here, I think it's a wizard on a horse. I don't know if it's a Citadel one or another company. Really like the horse though. Might be quite nice to make a bit of scenery or something out of that one. There we have the wizard sitting on there. Now it's worth noting that a lot of these older minis are lead, so I will definitely be washing my hands afterwards. So here we have what looks like a little lizard man. I think this is a this is a Tom Meyer 1983 lizard man. I really love this little model. I used to way back in the 80s. I didn't play the game. I didn't quite understand it as much as you do when you're an adult. But I used to do little kind of dioramas and things and sitting these all out in little kind of like woods with rocks and things like that in them. But there is that little lizard man. And here is with just a very messy paint job. On the tab on the bottom it just says unwell. So that's what I always knew this character as the unwell. If you know anything about it, please drop a comment. And here we have similar paint job from myself way back when, just blobs of paint all over it. Don't know what this character is. It just says CM14 on the base. There's another little character there. So as we go through, there's less and less in this box now. There we have what looks like a ninja with a sword there. I think that sword has been bent, because when you look at the scabbard it's nice and straight, so I'm wondering if that's been bent over time. I can't remember, to be honest. There we have that character. Here we have what I think is either a werewolf or I think it's a werewolf, this one. Werewolf. Painted with really high gloss paints, that one. And then go on to some undead. There is a skeleton missing their sword. Not much paint on that one. Don't know what this character is. It looks like a wizard with some horns. What's it say on the bottom? It says 2-stroke 4D. So if you know what that one is, please drop a comment. And here we have, I think they're both orcs, or it might be a goblin on a wolf or a warg, but there we have 2 orcs, one on foot, one riding that wolf or warg. Now these, I remember these ones, these were the bad guys all the time when I used to have my dioramas and things like that. I really like those ones. And then here we have, now I can never remember how to pronounce this one. Is it Gorgaz? Correct me if I'm wrong. It's worn away quite a lot on the base, but it does look like it says Gorgaz. I have seen images of this one online, and I think I remember seeing it in a book as well years and years ago. It's missing whatever weapon it was holding, but there is this mini with the tail that never got glued on. It used to just get pushed in place. I think there used to be blue tack stuck in there as well, holding it in. There's another one of those. And what have we got here? I think this is a hobgoblin. So this was another one of the ones I inherited from my brother. You can't really see the detail on the face the way it's been painted, but it doesn't matter. It's a cool little mini, that one. Just says AP on the bottom of this one, but it looks like a skeleton or something like that with a small kind of hooked weapon. And then here we have 2 more undead skeleton warriors. Now these weren't painted by me, but I've always have distinct memories of the shields on these ones with those skulls. And one is armed with an axe, one is armed with a sword. But yeah, lots of memories of these little guys. And then finally in here, let's just get the last few out, we have a selection of dwarves. Now these were always the good guys when I played these dwarves. So this one is missing its dagger, but I think it's like a dwarven assassin. And again, I didn't paint any of these, I inherited these all painted. There is a dwarf warrior. Very simple paint scheme on these ones, just a few colours. Pre-slaughter base as well, so it says dwarf on the front just there. So there's one dwarf swordsman. There's the other swordsman that was always his fighting buddy in my make-believe kind of play when I was a kid, with his wings on his helmet. Then we have another dwarf with an axe and a shield, very similar to this one, which is missing the axe but we do have the shield on there. And then finally we have a dwarf bowman. Now, these are all the models that introduced me to the hobby all those years ago. I'm not even going to think how long ago it was. It was the mid-80s, quite a long time ago. I do have my particular favourites out of all of them. I think if I was having to choose them, it would definitely be the Tree Man was one of my all-time favourites. The little halfling with the apple shield. I did always love these two skeleton warriors. And yeah, that guy was cool. He wasn't always one of my favourites though, but I did like the orc on the wolf there, the warg. And I did like these two dwarven swordsmen as well. But I hope you found this video interesting, going a bit down memory lane for me, looking at all of these models. If you'd like me to do any videos of painting some of these classic ones, please drop a comment. I'd love to make some content with these ones. Or if you'd like me to have a look at the first edition Warhammer rulebooks and things where I also introduced to this hobby, please drop a comment. Like I said, I hope you've enjoyed this video looking at these models. But for now, my name's John, and you're watching War Games, Models, and Other Hobbies.